Good day, it's episode 50 of African Couch Potato, the mashup. I am your host, Gino. Today we talk to comedian Dave Levinsohn. You guys might remember him from Going Nowhere Slowly on the old SABC 3, which is now S3. And today he shares his comic journey with us, as well as how to stay funny in serious times. Dave, how are you?
Hello, Gino. That's a great, really cool intro.
Oh, thank you so much.
I forgot that I do that.
Yeah, that's.
So I was fired from Going Nowhere Slowly.
You were fired?
First time I've ever been fired in my life.
For what? Weren't you guys just like driving around and tasting food?
It sounds like that. No, we weren't tasting food. We were looking for South African things and people and interesting places. So Going Nowhere Slowly was like we'd get in the car and we'd go to a place. It was all planned.
Yeah.
But the director and I didn't see eye to eye on so many things. He only had one eye.
So you didn't see...
No. But David ended up being a really great mentor for me. He was a clever man, but he didn't know what to do with me.
Mm.
So he just came to me one afternoon and gave me air tickets and said, "You need to go home."
End of contract.
In the first 4 episodes. And then that thing also made me angry because SABC owns it outright.
Yeah.
And they've sent it to Canada, America. People have seen that thing. Although I'm only in the first 4 episodes, which established the way it is. The 3 guys. It was Top Gear before Top Gear.
Yeah.
Kurt Skinrod, Anton Visser, and myself. Anton's a kind of a genius dude, well-spoken, copywriting kind of guy, which would be your the other guy.
Jeremy. James
May. And then I was kind of the Jeremy, with Kurt being a bit of a Richard. So the sort of stunt man, do stupid things. Because we did some crazy stuff. But I woke up in the morning and he said, "Thanks, you can go home." But he also phoned me years later and he said, "Sorry, man, my issue was I didn't know what to do with genius." So I'm like, "Oh, I'll take that."
But you're getting fired at the same time.
He wasn't being rude when he said that. He said, everything you did just came completely out of northwest and south when we were traveling in one direction with the production. And he says, your ideas and the things you said when we were listening later on in the edit, because my mic's always on, and they're just sitting there going, what the hell is Dave saying?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't part of the show. And then also it's going on SABC 3, and I'm not a nice comedian. I wasn't saying nice things when my mic was on.
But then how do they rope you in? Because the whole point of
it was a pilot originally.
But still, it's scripted to some degree, and you're a very improv guy. So how do they keep you in
So
check?
Going Nowhere Slowly wasn't scripted. The places we went and the people we saw were scripted. So we'd have 10 or 20 questions that were really, really pointed to that guy. So that person was a famous for... And there were also people you didn't know in the town. So if you went to Graaff-Reinet or you went to obvious places, where you go to the Owl House in New Bethesda, those were interesting. We'd have to ask someone those questions. And then they'd always leave me just at the end to say, "Okay, Dave, have a go." But improv isn't well received by everybody.
Yeah.
People like structure.
This was after Coffee Lounge.
The Coffee Lounge was weird because a guy called Sam Hendricks, who was a producer, he said, "I need you to start a comedy lounge because I need acts. Because I'm bringing the comedy festival to South Africa." And he went big. He took all rooms at the Baxter and he hired buskers to walk around town. So he went big, and that was called the Moscow Mule Comedy Festival. So Moscow Mule eventually became Smirnoff Spin.
Yes.
And he said, start a comedy club and get some people there. So at the Coffee Lounge, it was Tuesday nights, up 4 flights of stairs to this room with broken chairs and beanbags. And a guy called Brian Weinronk, who had red and blue sunglasses. You always want a guy who owns a place called Brian Weinronk. And we had our comedy on Tuesday nights, and then it was $10 to get in. But on any given night there, Jason Cope, Koki Falco, Mark Sampson, John Flismus, Mark Banks, Mark Lottering. At that stage, Riyad Musa was still doing magic. So he would come and do, "Can I do some magic?" And I said to him every night, I said, "Cut the magic, just do comedy." So these were the guys that we started out that are big now. Conrad Koch, we had half a puppet, and he would be at the Coffee Lounge.
Yeah.
And then from there, Sam said, "Who do you think can then be?" And then he had new faces which was clever. So there was a nursery for comedians. And now I find most comedy clubs are just open mic-y type clubs.
Yeah.
There needs to be what was clever enough is that from there you move on to the comedy festival, new faces. And then once you've got your stuff together, you can then do one-man shows and do productions and get out of the open mic scene.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you find some comedians end up being perpetual open micers.
But now starting out, do you write your
I
material?
don't know. You know what? I was working at a magazine and I kept writing captions underneath the photos. And the guy that did the TV ad for the magazine, it was called TV Talk. Don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I remember that. I was
the
like
designer.
5 or 6. Yeah.
So the magazine itself was an SABC magazine that had everything in it, and it was produced. It was an advertiser magazine, so it was paid for by the advertisers.
Yeah.
So I would write captions underneath the pictures because they'd send us these random pictures. I don't know who that is. Doesn't say this is from Bold and the Beautiful.
But it wasn't like a TV guide.
It was a TV guide with some stories as well.
Yeah.
And we try and make someone famous. So at that stage, Zamo, what was his name? It was TV shows and game shows.
Yeah, yeah.
Try to make the guys famous, put them in a magazine. And then it was the first magazine that had 1 million copies printed and given out for free at Shell Garage.
Yeah.
Shell doesn't exist anymore. Nor does TV Talk. But I wrote captions, and the one guy filmed every month. We'd do an ad for the magazine, and I would end up having to write the ad. And so I had a background in graphic design and copywriting. And he said to me, "Your captions are flipping hilarious, but they have to be taken out because we can't send out the magazine like that." But so many of them got through because the editor would read it and go, "Well, that's funny." And then he said, "Do you want to do comedy? We're filming this thing called Late Night Live at the Broadway Theatre in Cape Town." And on that night, there was people that are hugely famous now that also were starting out. For the first time I picked up a mic, walked on stage and he said, "Can you do 5 minutes?" I walked off stage after about 40 minutes. He shouted at me, he said, "Can you get off the stage, please? Please leave." But I loved it so much that I didn't have to write the comedy because it was all already there from being class clown at school. And then I went to the army. Then I did all these weird jobs. I ended up living and working and it just all the comedy was there already. I didn't need to write a single word of it.
Now, like for example, when you do your shows at Gatsby's in Midrand, if I come watch you on Tuesday and I come watch
you'll
you
see
on
a different
Thursday,
show.
it's a different show.
So that also like angers management in terms of how to do. A producer wants to do a show. He wants to hire Dave Levinsohn. I saw you on Wednesday. You did this funny thing about the Olympics. That's the show I want you to do.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but
It
what
was
the
all
show
improv.
did, it was all improvised. I'm like, I'll try and remember it, and I do write my stuff down, so I've got my notes. But I can write 5 things down, and that's an hour. Because I suppose I did speech contests at school and debating and things like that, so I can remember the things and the structures of the joke. I got very lucky. My uncle used to play records for me, but it was Bill Cosby, Billy Connolly, Richard Pryor, and I'd sit there with earphones on, but I'm 7 years old. So I had a proper education of how comedy, and that's all I wanted to be from the age of 7.
With techniques, do you now set up a premise and then let the
I would
joke
say
land later on?
I like to tell the audience that it's very, get them uncomfortable and then hit them with a whole lot of punchlines from the side, so they're just not expecting it. That makes me feel happy. I hate a setup, a premise, setup, punchline. I mean, it just seems too obvious.
Yeah. Because a lot of comedians would build it up and they'd give premise, and then it's just followed by just like back
So
to
I've
back
done
punchlines.
10 minutes of intro just talking about my day. So guys, can I tell you about my day? I went to Home Affairs or I did this thing. And they look at me and go, "Oh, that never happened." That is exactly what happened. But then again, as a comedian, you're always looking for stuff. Like when I came here, I didn't just walk in here. I walked around, I saw some people.
Yeah.
I'm in this fancy restaurant just looking at who comes here. Because we are in the middle of, where are we?
Sandton.
It's
The
Lani,
richest
man.
square mile in Africa, yeah.
This is Lani. This is proper. So I just walk around and I'm always thinking of the comedy.
Yeah.
So when you say you go on stage and you improvise, you actually haven't improvised it. You've thought about it the whole day. And then where's the funny? How can I just... So you leave these little blocks open.
Yes.
So I'll have the premise, I have the thing, and then I'll say, it's got to be funny, it's got to be funny, it's got to be funny. And then I'll just find like 6 or 7 punchlines that fit into those things, and then one that's a throwaway in case someone heckles me. So I know that if they are going to say, "Oh, that's a shit joke," and then I can say, "Yes, but I've got this."
Yeah.
So it's almost like, I don't know if you know how the receptors work in your nervous system. Drugs are shaped in a certain shape so they fit in there.
Oh, okay.
So they can con you, they make a drug a certain shape so that the receptor goes, "Okay, this must be the thing."
Good for me, yeah.
That's how endorphins work, that's the all work. So that's how my jokes kind of work. I'll get the shape, but it might not be the real deal.
But what if people miss it? Because you'd go and now that we're coming out of elections, you'll see a party poster like good.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, "This is a good washing powder ad." And I was
Doesn't
like,
it look like a
"How?"
washing powder ad?
Well, after that, I saw it. But before, it's just like a woman trying to like make sure we're all okay.
No, imagine how the depth of that, because I could get into trouble for, she's standing there like this and it says, "Stop the suffering.
Yes.
Turn to good."
Share good. Share the good.
And then there's so many things that are wrong with that in terms of being cancelled, because it's a woman advertising washing powder. So what are you saying? You're saying, "Well," but remember those old Omo washing powder ads?
Yes.
Surf Super Blue.
Yeah.
Then I looked at it, that's Patricia DeLille. I'm like, is it good for coloreds? Is it good for whites? Then there's so many things that you could do that it is a washing powder.
Yeah.
So then, yeah. But I'm just glad I got it off. Nowadays, you can get it off your
You
chest.
had no trouble with being censored coming up in your
I don't know. I
career.
think Facebook have banned me a few times because they don't see it as a joke. So they'll see it as you are
Being offensive.
offensive and you're putting a stereotype onto something. But if I look at that, I could get away with it because like, ooh, Pat, what washing powder is this? And then nowadays, I would never do that on stage because I'm finding there's so many people that are on TikTok that would never have that craft for stand-up.
Yeah.
And yet they are doing stand-up. But the audience is spotting it immediately, like, no, this isn't stand-up. He's just taking his TikToks and doing them live.
Yeah.
I won't say who it is.
Where do you draw the line between being offensive? If you watch comedians like Bill Burr, who's just like
love
the
Bill Burr.
most offensive person on
No,
earth.
he's not. He's so soft and nice and hug and friendly and huggy.
Yeah.
What is I think he's same age as me. He's 55. He's angry because we're kind of like a lost post-war messed up generation who we didn't have great times back in the 70s. And I would say the same thing for worldwide. Obviously, apartheid was a completely different thing. So if I meet a 55-year-old black guy, I can't fathom how that person's life was.
Yeah.
Born in 69 or 70, that's a mess. So you've got Bill Burr, so take his whole 55-year-old generation. They're just angry.
Yeah.
So all that happens is say something.
But he just
And he'll
bashes
go,
everything.
wow, that's just like a angry little Jack Russell. I love him because it's so not offensive. It's just so nothing. It does nothing. No one breaks. No one dies in his story. There's
No one dies, but
what's
people walk
so-
away getting bashed or feeling ashamed. And I just want to ask your
I
opinion.
love him.
Do you prefer British, like English sense of humor, or do you prefer like the West? Because I feel like the West
You know
is a
what's-
bit slapsticky.
If you grew up and you had those records, Monty Python records. Now, Monty Python records, I didn't see anything, but the imagination that was, as soon as that record started, they added, you know, the crackly part of the record. They added more to make the record sound more recordy. So they were hidden little gems in those things. And there's so many Monty Python sketches that you could, you know, that one where the guy goes in the room and he says, "What are you here for?" He says, I'm here for an argument. And he goes, "No, you're not." So when I watch Parliament now, I'm like, they're literally doing Monty Python sketches and they don't even know they're doing it.
Yes.
So they'll, you know, I think growing up with Monty Python and a few other great English comics taught me more than American comics would. But then we got all the American sitcoms.
Yes. And also with the Americans, don't you feel like... So my thing is with Bill Burr, I feel like he has to shout and be vile to be funny. Whereas
No,
British, it's a bit more...
No, he's yeah, I do agree that the British are more, there's more of a style to it. Look, there are some hectic British comics. I mean, Roy Chubby Brown has been cancelled before cancel culture even existed. You know, and I think he died on stage. He
performing.
died. He died. And he just lay there. And the people clapped for like 10 minutes. And then they said, "Come on, this ox had a heart attack." So, I mean, that's how you want to go.
Yeah.
And because you're such a joker, they're like, "Oh, he's just..."
They don't take your dead
No, he
seriously.
was dead. So I say maybe classy, stylish is your English. And then also coming out of the war, they kind of had to do the jolly comedy. Whereas the
The
Americans...
feel-good stuff.
But then there are some classy American comics. I mean, so let's take comparing Bill Burr to Jim Jeffries, Australian,
Yeah.
and then Ricky Gervais.
Yeah.
Ricky Gervais is kind of offensive, but he doesn't care. I love Bill Burr. I'll watch him for days. He, like when he's sitting in that chair and the guy says, "Do you want?" He says, "This chair's terrible. This chair's uncomfortable." And the guy goes, "Oh, let's go fetch him that chair." He goes, "What are you doing?" Like the chair was giving me all the comedy. Like I was using the chair as my comedy vehicle, and now you just said, "Let's change it." When this was going to be my thing. So it's just that no one's there's no offense in that chair, but he just made the chair the vehicle for his next 5 minutes of interview.
Yeah.
Because in those countries, you'll do 5 or 6 interviews a day if you've got a movie coming out or a book. In this country, it's not. I'll do one podcast for my show for Thursday, so that I can give it all on the one interview. So he's got to find a thing at each interview that he does. So it was interesting where the guy said, "Well, let's swap the chair if it's so uncomfortable." He's like, "No, you don't get it. Like this was going to be my thing. I was going to sit here and complain about the chair."
Yeah.
And they took, you know, so in a way, I think they just don't understand him. He's just going to be there and just blurt it all out. But
Yeah.
I think he's a very smart man.
Have you ever corpsed during a performance?
Yeah, I have. Sometimes I've gone out on the wrong foot. Are you from an acting background? Or...
No, dismally no. But I did study theatre for like a whole 1 year.
Yeah, so when you do a TV production or an ad, you'll have a director going, "We're going to do this. There's your mark, and we're going to come out with this." try and say it with up and try and be down on this one. And there you go. And then he says action. And then you film it and you go and you can do it 3 or 4 times. Can't do that with comedy. I've got to step out on stage, and there's just some nights you just literally step on the wrong foot. And the comedians will all tell you, like, you've got your lucky shoes that you might wear, and then you can't find them, so you put on another pair of shoes. And you just feel 1 millimeter out of yourself.
Yeah.
So you step out on stage and you look. But you know what? You're thinking about comedy clubs, or you're comparing that corpsing at a corporate.
No, like at a comedy club where
Yeah.
people are there to see you.
No,
We've
then
all
that's cool.
bought
So they're
tickets.
to see it at a comedy. The best thing to do is to tell the people, it's like, guys, I was thought of a joke and I can't find the ending. Would you mind helping me? And I promise you, every single person in that audience will say, let's go, let's do it. You can't do that at a corporate golf day.
Yeah.
You've got to announce the winners of the awards, 5-year, 70. Johnny's been there for 17 service awards. You've got to make a nice, clean, friendly joke and get out. But yeah, it's horrible to have that. I think it's just because I've got too much to say. It's not, and then narrowing it down to the one thing that I want to do. On Friday night, we did a joke about a man who was caught in Bloemfontein, a Belgian man who had been involved in female circumcision. So already it's just a topic, and everyone's like, "Ugh." And I started speaking about that he was caught with clitorises in the fridge. So that's in the news.
Yeah.
So as soon as I said that, the whole audience were like, oh,
Cringing.
where's this going to go? How's this going to be funny? And kind of make it funny. But I realized, like, it's just those choices of those columns, like silos that you got in your brain. Like, these guys weren't ready for that.
And it's a bit dark as well.
But what's nice is that it's in the newspaper that a child can read. It's not edited or there's no age restriction. A Belgian man is in court in Bloemfontein for mutilation, and he kept them. You know what I mean? Like little souvenirs.
Yeah.
You know, like when you go hunting, you put a warthog on your wall.
Yeah.
You know?
So he's got like little clits in his fridge.
Well, you've taken it there, haven't you?
But I didn't.
That's exactly where the joke goes. So it's nice because does he burp the Tupperware? And the joke is his wife had enough, and that's not in the article. I just assume. So what the best thing I do as a comedian is to go, what if, and where can it go where no one's expecting? So his wife says, I've had it. This is enough now. You bring one more home, and I'm phoning the police. So he had, I don't know, in the article, maybe it said he had 16, and he brought 17, and she phoned the police. And then at the end of the joke, I say, now that's, ladies and gentlemen, that's the limit. 16 clitorises is the limit. But it came from a guy who had died masturbating, and it was something like 67 orgasms that he had.
Yeah.
And he had died, or something, and at 57.
So he died on
So
the
I said,
8th one.
so the caption there was, guys, we now know it's 56. So it came from that. So it's almost a mathematical. And then I thought, let me think of 6 other examples that aren't as bad, but you head towards that thing. So you go, and now we know 56 is the limit, 16 clitorises, and then I've got 3 other things. But it's always a what if moment, which I prefer. But yeah, there are those times where you step out on the wrong foot and you can feel it immediately. A place like this where we're going on Thursday, that can go wrong.
That's Blue Hills.
It's in Blue Hills, kind of behind
The local.
No, the local's lekker. Yeah, that's on Sunday. But that's going to be that's a local crowd. It's going to be a kind of easier because they really do want a bit of entertainment. But these other places like Gatsby, you often find people who are there to have a drink, and you're doing comedy. And that's, I find, incongruous. You've got to tell the people, or have a board outside that says, there's comedy here tonight. Please understand that there's going to be a man speaking to you while you're on your date. So those things, I believe there's a science to it. Like I can't just walk in here and grab a mic and say, hey, where are you from? What's your name? You've got to know that there's some comedy, and then you sit back as an audience member and you're like, okay, I'm into this, let's do this. So that's why I often find it funny as a person at a comedy night going, I disagree with that. That's not. Look, bro, we are talking cuck. There's no one. Once the doors are open, I'm going to get my 1,000 rand. I'm going to walk home. Yeah, but you've offended my mom or whatever. You're like, no one got hurt.
Died.
No one got. There's nothing. So when I see a physical thing like that Chris Rock thing, I'm like, whoa, that was just an observation of the fact that his wife is bald and has maybe can get the job as G.I. Jane 2. And then it just went to that physical level. So I'm like, I've seen Dave Chappelle get hit on a video. I've seen Jimmy Carr's been threatened.
Yeah.
So you're like, come on, man, you're at a comedy night. Let's have it like a thing. But I also have seen comedians, young comics, go too rough, right from the word go. So, like I said, I shouldn't have maybe started with the clitoris in the fridge.
Should have built your way up.
Should have built it up, the same as what you do with the real clitoris.
Build your way up. Do people come at you for defamation?
No, I don't think anyone's ever. I'm too soft. I didn't mention the guy's name who's in the article. And I also say I'm not for or against anything. I'm just going to be moderate. I'll chat to people in the audience and I'll say, hey, how are you? What do you do? Where are you from? Then at least we've got an establishment. The people say, first thing they'll say is like, don't talk to me, just do your show. I'm like, well, guess what?
My show
This is the show. And they don't understand. The reason why I'm asking that is, so where are you from? What do you do? What do you think? So we can sort of curate a bit of comedy around it. Okay, that's interesting. And then the whole audience is now like, okay, we're all part of this little team for this hour. And when it's over, we can leave and go, hey, I didn't know that. That's interesting. The guy does this. And I'll tie it all in a comedic way. But I don't like people who go, no, don't talk to me in the front. Just do your show. And I'm like, well, why are you sitting in the front then? Dumbass.
But then what do you do?
Why are you wearing a Hawaiian shirt and Crocs and you sit in the front?
It's laundry day.
You're asking for shit.
But what do you do when you get a crowd like that that's super dry and you can't suck anything out of them?
So here's the thing: if you've done these podcasts with actors and people, the comedians get asked this question at every radio interview I've heard. They go, "Wow, what happens if the people don't laugh? What happens? What do you do?" Now you think, I don't care if they don't laugh. You know what I hate is when they don't listen. So if they're all talking amongst each other and there's a thing, I can't do the comedy. They've got to actually be facing the same way, on the edge of the seats going, okay, Mr. Comedian, show us your stuff. So it's never about not laughing. If you laugh for 20 minutes straight, you actually need to go to a padded room. There's something wrong with you. So you need that, and then another laugh, and then another laugh, and it builds up. So it's not the question of when they don't laugh. I can do 10 minutes of comedy where I don't want you to laugh. I just want you to listen. And then I start bringing all the things I've said in those 10 minutes around and back and think. And now we do that build up. In the old days, the guys went, you got to get the audience laughing as soon as you come out. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Even if you hire a plumber, he doesn't go straight to your pipes. He comes in and he goes, I'm John. Oh, you went to school around the area? Yeah, I did. And then you talk about, we moved here last week. And he's not going to go straight to the pipe and start fixing it.
Yeah.
And why I do that as a comedian? I'm going to go, hi, how are you? Lekker, man. When I go to work, you have a cup of coffee. That's on company time. So I'm having a cup of coffee with my audience first, in their minds, going, how's it? This is me. This is where I'm from. And then you have that people go, but they haven't laughed yet. I'm like, well, they don't have to laugh. I haven't fixed the pipe yet. So I don't care about the not laughing. And when you start, you care about it. When you've done it for 25 years, started in 99, then I don't care. As long as you're listening. Then I can plant the seeds, and I can also see the squirming in the chairs when I speak, just saying the word clitoris, which is a Latin word. It's like a shoulder blade or scapula. It's not, and the squirming, I'm like, yes, I've got you. The hand in front of the mouth, a guy or a girl, it's brilliant, because then I know they're holding back a laugh, like that. I'm like, I've got you, because you couldn't control that laughter. And that's where comedy lives. Because if I say a dad joke and I go, the guy has a thing, and I saw the thing, boom, you can go, okay, I got you, that's a dad joke. Yeah. If I flip it around and you put your hand in front of your mouth because you're like, that is so unexpected. That's when I'm winning. So I don't care if they don't laugh. As long as can I invoice?
1,000 rand.
So that's what you get for club gigs now. Let's just put it out there. So a corporate comedian can go up to 90,000 rand.
To just like a Telkom,
Telkom, Discovery Health, or Standard Bank, ABSA, if they want, especially if they want Celeste Ntuli, they want Loyiso Gola, they want Riyad Musa, you can name your price. They want that comedian. I saw him. That's the guy we want. And then they phone the agent, they book it, big bucks.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm making the big bucks. I would say maybe back in the day there was like comedians were hired as MCs, and it maybe have been a white domain.
Yes.
You would call it a gatekeeper kind of situation. Now there's no more like that. I spoke to Demiso Lindy like last week, and he was doing literally a gig that I had done 12 years ago. I said, how was it? He goes, they're so lekker. They asked how you were. They still speak about you. I'm like, that's cool. It's kind of leveled out. Comedians can do corporate comedy. But then I've done a gig before where guys have said to me, last year we had a comedian and he was very offensive. I hope you're not going to be offensive. Like, well, have you heard about this Belgian guy?
So now, how do you sustain that career? So we go from you writing to you stand up, improv. At what point do you feel like you need to start building a retirement plan?
So here's the thing. I lost all my retirement plan because of COVID. You know, they're saying you have 3 months salary saved.
Yeah.
I had all that. I had medical aids, I had those things. Those things were gone. They were lost. So I believe it's a time to restart, purge. I'm going to reinvent Dave Levinsohn. With all this, I have now so much experience, I can literally reinvent myself. And this farce about being relevant, it's a lie. It's such a lie. You must be relevant.
Yes.
Relevant in what realm? So the TikTok's there, Insta's there, all these things are there to access. I'm now learning how to edit. I'm learning how to do these things. Stuff I wouldn't have done before. I just got on stage with a mic. No one's ever thought about filming and cutting reels and doing little funny sketches and doing things. So that's where the future is.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I mean, in America, they're still doing stadiums. You know, Bill Burr can sell out a stadium. And as we spoke about before, would he be, people are coming to see him because they want to be shocked, or are they full-on fans, just want to love his comedy? Either way, they're paying $100. He doesn't care.
As long as they're there and listening.
So guys like Scott Bezatnote are touring now, getting the things done, but those are brilliant because that means he trailblazers for us. Trevor Noah, they go, he doesn't come to South Africa. He's put South African comedy on the map. You can go to America and say, how's it? I'd like to, okay. We know Trevor's good. Maybe you knew him or you worked with him. So he's just an in for you. You don't have to be jealous or happy or sad. Those people are doing stuff, and that's where the future is for me. Just to be relevant, do things like this, chat to people, and find a way.
Yeah.
Because we got everything taken away from us. And I mean, you think about your essence. They couldn't take that away. They took the comedy clubs away. They took corporate events away, golf days, all the little income streams are gone. So they've taught you 2 things. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. I can't just do comedy anymore. Like I said, I've got a client now. I'm doing some graphic design. I'm doing some podcasts for them. I can't be just doing comedy. So maybe that's the relevance they speak of. Like, I don't care about the latest news. You'll notice I don't do any comedy about elections per se. I made fun of a washing powder ad.
It wasn't washing powder.
I'm telling you now, how did the good party do?
Not great.
Yeah, did people go to the shops and say, either I'm going to get Omo, Surf, or some good? What was it? Stop the suffering.
Share the good.
The stains on the neck. How do you get rid of the stains on the
Sunlight.
neck? So I stay away from politics because it's too... Remember in the old days when at home you weren't allowed to talk about sex, religion, politics at the supper table. And yet those are the 3 most interesting topics that are spoken about every day. So I came from that background, and I'm like, you know what? I'll find other things that are just as interesting.
Last question.
Religion.
There's this thing that comedians are always happy, and people always ask you to commit. Does that irritate you?
It's weird because it's certain people that will do that. So people in the know will not do that. So I've been to a golf day. I played golf center with some clients, and at the end of 18 holes, the guys go, "You're a comedian, but you didn't say anything funny." So I'm like, bro, when I'm playing golf, I'm serious about my shit here. So I have been to parties where the guys have said, "Hey, but you're a comedian, you know? Well, you didn't." The other guy was funnier, and I'm like, if I'm watching, I'm learning. I'm just sitting there looking at the stuff that's going on. And trust me, I'm putting it all in there. And you're all going to be in my show next week, but you're not in the show tonight. It has to gestate.
Yeah.
It has to boil and do. So I'm a watcher. I think people, when they found out from school that I became a comedian, they're like, but you were quite a cheeky oak. Every now and then you chirp. But I was never the clown. Like watching and trying to be the funny guy. I would just chirp from the background and go, and that's kind of where my comedy started. Just seeing a situation, you say something stupid, and I'm like, is it? And then I'll say the funny thing. But I don't know. The comedian all the time is quite weird. Who's on 24/7?
No one.
It's not normal.
You can't.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm in my car, I get road rage like everyone else. If you cut me, I bleed.
Yeah.
But I do. If I'm in the right mood, and maybe I wouldn't say it's alcohol driven, but in the right mood, I am the party. I am the guy.
Yeah.
But I'll do it when it's on my terms. I'm not getting paid at your braai. But I hate getting introduced as a comedian. It's quite a weird fetish that I've got. Don't say, this is Dave, he's a comedian. It's at a party or a braai it just messes up everything. Because then straight away, okay, tell us a joke. Do you know Trevor? Have you seen, you know who I like? I like this guy. I'm like, he's not funny, piss off. But I mean, that's why I'd rather do a graphic designer.
Yeah.
anything else. As soon as you say comedian, it's weird. It clicks in people's heads.
But you have moments where you would go on your Instagram with like Chris, and you guys would be having like a Dippies on call, and you're having like a jolly time. So people expect that the whole time, that you're just going to goof around.
Can you imagine? That would be the worst guy to have at your braai. I mean, I do remember my uncle used to tell jokes, and after 12 jokes, you're like, bro, you need to calm down. Like, cause we talking about water, I'll tell you a joke about water. What my uncle used to do, and I did learn comedy from him. He would tell 20 jokes in a row,
back to back, yeah.
But none of them are relevant, you know. So it was just interesting. But he could craft a joke well. He did good accents, and the jokes were clever. So I did learn that structure. But I'm not good with jokes. I actually don't like jokes. I find they're too obvious because I know there's something at the end.
Yes,
I know there's going to be a thing.
Punchline, yeah.
Yeah. So I prefer a hidden punchline.
How do people book you?
They can book me on thedaveshow.biz. I changed it to biz because I felt there was a missing aspect of comedy, which is the business side.
Yes.
So to book me on thedaveshow.biz. And I've called it Dave Show because it is your life. So thedaveshow.biz, and I've got a little booking. I don't have an agent, but that's how, for corporates, that's where you can book me. And then obviously the Dave Levinsohn is on Insta.
Yeah. I
can't do Facebook. I don't know how it works.
You don't know how Facebook works?
Too old.
Just put up a picture of your kids. Twitter?
Yes. Twitter's, the people on Twitter are on a mission to go, hey, why did you say that? Have you, you know. I went on there the day that Cyril announced the thing. I said, Cyril just read the World Health Organization pamphlet, and we think he's a hero. Got into trouble. Like, Cyril's a great guy. He's the only president that's spoken to his people. See, he read the World Health Organization website to us, live on TV. And we all thought he was this great man. I said, but now there goes all my events. There goes all my I was a brewer of beer. Gone. Because he closed it down. Remember, we weren't allowed alcohol.
Yeah.
They came and put a chain on my front of my brewery.
Yeah, but you weren't allowed to brew unless you've got
you weren't allowed to brew. So if I can't brew for 3 months, that means it's going to take me 2 years to get back to normal. I had to sell the equipment.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't sell it. I mean, I couldn't sell it. So I owe F&B lots of money.
Coming up shows for July?
I've got mostly corporates. I've got a golf day or two. And I've got, in September, I've got lots of charity stuff. Don't know if you know RADA. So RADA's a clinic, and they've got a really lekker comedy show that they do twice a year.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's Mark Banks, Demiso Lindy's there, maybe Dylan Oliphant, Eric Janssen, Bongani Dube.
Yes.
So it's a lekker comedy night. And the rest of them are all golf days. Because I mean, and then you can see me at Gatsby's.
Yes.
And you can see me at the Local. Have you ever been to the Local?
No, I haven't been to the Local.
It's a crazy place, man.
But also they call everything the Local, because I've got I used to have Murphy's Law, which is now changed to the Local.
I see.
I think that's why it's the Local in Blue Hills, the Local.
Do you think
North
it's that?
Riding?
Wherever the Local is, the Local.
Wherever the local pub is.
Yeah. No, this place there will be a fight.
Yeah.
There'll probably be 2 chicks.
Thanks so much for chatting to us. And we are African Couch Potato. You can find us at African Couch Potato absolutely everywhere. You can find us on all the streamers, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, Deezer, or you can just Google us or email me on gino.olechino@gmail.com. The spelling is in the show notes. Until you hear from me again, goodbye and keep binging.